that the Philippine-US War Games will be the last. 2016 War Games will be the last. And of course, people were asking, what's going to happen? We still have a mutual defense treaty. And if you have a mutual defense treaty, there should be exercises between the treaty allies to make sure that that is an operable defense treaty. They're used to working together. That is the reason for a military exercise. Kung walang military exercise, how can you coordinate if there's going to be a military problem later? And I was so happy when the President went to Vietnam. In fact, I made a statement. I'm sure the President will see how Vietnam has stood up for centuries. I mentioned this already. Standing up, but keeping the diplomatic doors open and strengthening their military. Vietnam has a very good military. They have a very relatively advanced air force, Navy. They can give China a bloody nose if that's necessary. They cannot win, but give China a bloody nose. So sabi ko, baka doon pwedeng matutuhan ni Presidente yung style ng Vietnam. How to do battle with China, especially with China as a next door neighbor of Vietnam. And then Yasai, the following day, issued a statement. Sabi niya, Manila will respect military pacts with Washington, sabi ng Secretary Yasai. And they will conduct annual amphibious exercises and according to Secretary Yasai, your statement to President Duterte was only with respect to joint patrols, but not amphibious exercises. Yun ang nililibit. We will respect all our treaty commitments with the United States, according to Secretary Yasai. Our agreements with the U.S. so far as war games are concerned is there. And this should be done pursuant to the agreement. So sabi niya, no, it will not be the last. It will continue 2017. But after 2017, they will review. Which is the usual case. You always review. You cannot plan 50 years ahead, no? Titignan mo ano bang prevailing situation. We respect military agreements. And then of course, in-announce ang China trip ni Presidente, I think October 19 to 21, and he will be accompanied by a lot of Philippine businessmen. So this business-oriented meeting, 19 to 21, by delegation, business leaders, that seems to be the top of the agenda. He will meet with President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Keqiang. President Xi Jinping will be basically mga strategic matters. Premier Li will be economic matters. Premier Li is the top economic manager. Cooperation as a means to all ends in the South China Sea. Kailangan cooperation, but the primary stumbling block in the cooperation is the insistence of China that we should recognize their sovereignty. Yan ang pinakamahirap sa lahat. Now, again, we draw lessons from Indonesia because the President said we should not be dependent on the U.S., we should be independent. But here's Indonesia, a much bigger country, more powerful, with a budget of more than $800 billion compared to our $290 billion. Indonesia is a member of the G20, one of the top 20 economies of the world. Indonesia has a very modern air force. They have F-15s there, they have a modern navy. But in spite of that, they're looking at the U.S. to aid them in financing the upgrading of their naval bases facing the South China Sea. And we know Indonesia is not a puppet of anyone. But in spite of that, they're looking at the U.S. as a counterpoint kasi they're also threatened in the Natuna Sea area by China's encroachments there. Bumapasok din yung mga fishing vessels. Ito yung Tentara Nasional Indonesia, that's the Indonesian Navy, to finance the naval base in the South China Sea area. So we can learn from them. And then what are the contribution to the Philippine economy. Because some were a little alarmed when there was a statement saying, yung US, wala naman itutulong sa atin yan eh. Yung FA-50, ang pinadala sa atin, dalawa lang yan, walang armas. But the following day, Secretary Lorenzana clarified that the FA-50 is not from the US, but from South Korea. So, na-correct ang konti, no? What are the contributions of the US? Of course, in Yolanda, they contributed more than $90 billion sa Yolanda, plus of course the use of their big helicopters. The aircraft carrier was there. ODA, pagdating sa Official Development Assistance, $3 billion. Sa mga grant na natanggap natin na ODA, 36% from the US, 5.2% from Japan, and only 0.18% from China percent. But maybe, kasi nililigawan tayo ng China, palagi ko lalaki yan. And that's good for us. Okay. Meron pang USAID project, in fact, they have an office here in the Philippines. Kasama pa yung military assistance, although yung military assistance natin, baliwan, napaka-kukunti lang yan. Merchandise exports, yung export natin to the US, 8.6 billion, to China, 7.3. At meron tayong trade deficit with China, usually, mas malaki ang ini-import natin kaysa ini-export natin. Doon na lang sa Divisoria. Gaano kalaki yung bumili ka sa supermarket, puro made in China. Kaya yung balance of trade is in their favor. Service export, ito malaki. This is the one that worries me. This is the one that worries a lot of businessmen. BPO. You know, our BPO, business process outsourcing, is growing at about 17% per year. And around 80%, I think exactly 77% of that, comes from the US, galing sa US. And that is projected, ngayon equal na ang BPO with inward remittances, about $25 billion. Walang ganyang economic component as big as the BPO or inward remittances. And that is projected to grow by 17% and in 20 years become $50 billion. And 50 billion is roughly about 20% of our GDP. Right now, it's about 12% of our GDP. Of course, hindi naman makakancel yan. Ang concern ko lang, no? And concern some businessmen, pag medyo hindi na tayo friendly with the US, baka bumaba, humina ang momentum natin. Our dream of a much bigger BPO sector, right now employing 1 million Filipinos, baka bumagal yan. And walang iba nakaka-employ ng 1 million Filipinos dito. No single entity has that kind of employment opportunity. Sunrise industry. Yung remittances, 30% of the inward remittances comes from the US. It's not they're as big as the remittances from the Middle East, and only 0.2% from China. Yung foreign direct investment ito, may malaking chance na lalaki rin ang FDI ng China dito, no? Kasi nililigawan tayo. The US contributed 34% of the foreign direct investment, Japan 23%, China 0.8% only. So in terms of economic importance, these are very obvious. Tourism, pinakamalaki South Korea, next is USA at 18%, and China is only 4.5%. And China is the top contributor in only one aspect, and that is in illegal drugs. Estimated at $8 billion, 96% of that, which is Shabu or its precursors, come from China. I remember as a congressman, I remember as National Security Advisor, I mentioned this. In 1999, a top-level PNP delegation headed by the late PNP Director Joel Canson went there to appeal to China to stop the trade from the source. Na sa tingin ko, kung talaga gusto nilang gawin, madali. Because their shoreline is not that long. I understand that some rogue PLA generals are the one behind the drug trade there for their own aggrandizement. Imagine, $8 billion ang kinikita nila. Pagkatapos, magkukontribute sila for the construction of some rehab centers. Magkano lang yung mga rehab centers na yan? That's why, you know, with China occupying part of our exclusive economic zone, with China occupying Scarborough Shoal, claiming 80% of our exclusive economic zone in the west side of the Philippines, and with China exporting to us $8 billion worth of shabu or its precursors, how can you consider China a friend? Sabi ko nga, okay, fine. Magandang mag-usap, but they should first renounce their claim and stop this trade. Now, how about the United States in terms of popularity? Ano ba ang Amerika? Galit ba tayo sa Amerika? Nagkaroon ng Pew Research, no? This was in 2015, last year. Ano sabi? The Philippines, the US is looked at favorably in the Philippines, 92%. In South Korea, 84%. And you'll be surprised in Vietnam, 77%. Imagine, they had a 10-year war with the US, Vietnam, but in spite of that, the rating of the US is 77%. Why? Because Vietnam looks at the US as a protector because of the aggressiveness of China. Ganun lang kasimple yan eh. Sa kanila, the 10-year war is only an episode. Their long war is with China, centuries old. And sa India, dati 55%, ngayon 70% na. In Korea, 84%. Tapos ang low rating ng US in China, 44%. In Jordan and most of the Middle East countries, 13%. Lebanon, 39%. Palestine, 26%. Venezuela, 51%. In African countries, very high, 70%. So tanong ko, saan club mas maganda sumali? Yung club ng Vietnam, ng South Korea, ng India, ng even Indonesia is 62%, o sa club dito, Venezuela and other countries, even North Korea. Palagi ko, mas masarap siguro na we belong to the club of Japan or South Korea. Ang palagi niyo po, Catholic. So which international club should we join? And then of course, U.S. Secretary Carter is in Hawaii, and he declared that the U.S. will sharpen the military edge in Asia. Palalakasin ng kanilang military dito sa Asia. That was his statement. And an assessment in Washington Post. So medyo nag-iiba ang tingin sa atin sa Amerika. Washington Post, sabi rin, Philippines poses a major and unpredictable challenge to the U.S. So I'm sure that right now they are studying ano ba ang sitwasyon sa Pilipinas ngayon. That's a view from the Washington Post. So that ends my presentation. There's still a lot of imponderables ahead of us. Maybe the next few weeks will be critical. The next year will be critical. Maybe even the next few days will be critical with respect to some strategic matters, both in the South China Sea and in our relationship with China and the U.S. Ito yung tripartite relationship natin, Philippines, U.S., China, as we balance our foreign policy. I fully agree, we must have an independent foreign policy. We should open up, but I don't think it should be a zero-sum game. Ay ibig sabihin, kung palalakasin natin ang friendship natin with China, it should not be at the expense of our friendship with a long-term ally, the United States. We look at history, nagpakbakan tayo during the Philippine-American War. Maraming namatay na Pilipino, maraming namatay na Amerikano. But just to show you an example of how we move on, Aguinaldo, the leader of the Philippine War against the U.S., even sent his son to West Point. Nag-West Point ka rin, yung anak niya. Hindi lang gumraduate, I don't know why. si General Malbar, the last general to surrender.